Hello everybody and welcome to the very first podcast by Newcastle Fans TV, and also hello everybody watching on YouTube as well, and also people who have downloaded on iTunes and Google Play. It's international break. What we'll be doing is I'm here with Will. Say hello, Will.
Hello everyone.
We're just going to run you through a few topics that fans have been thinking of. I'm going to just have a chat about it all. I'm going to begin by basically telling everybody that I've been doing YouTube for about a year and a half. I've done it as a hobby at first, started taking a little bit more professionally towards earlier on this year in May when I rebranded it. Rather than talking about as in Lee Lawler HD, what it used to be, I've rebranded it Newcastle Fans TV, and I've brought Will on board ever since, so we've gone a little bit more professional, and this is the start of a new adventure for podcasts, and hopefully something that you'll enjoy. Will, tell everybody why you're doing YouTube.
Well, I've always liked YouTube, and I used to do a couple of YouTube channels with a couple of my friends doing silly little videos which cannot be found. They are lost. They are lost.
All right, that kind of video, is it?
Yeah, they're lost and taken down many years ago. And when Lee sort of like opened it out to say anyone can make a video, I sort of jumped on and said, well, sort of forcefully, and just said, watch it, like it, put it up.
I'm pleased you have. Good to have you on board. So, people are wondering the age difference. Will is more the younger generation. Will, tell everyone, how old are you?
I'm a full 17 years.
17, and I'm a bit old. I'm 31. Just turned 31 as well. A lot of rumours on the internet think that I'm 35 upwards. So I take that quite personally for people who say I'm 35 plus 40. What we're going to do then, we're going to jump straight into it. Enough about us. We've also got 40 with us in spirit. What we mean by that is 40
is some video links on WhatsApp.
He sent us some links. I've got all the questions. There's 14 questions to run through, and he has sent some his answers. He does talk a bit. He's from down south, so we'll just have to make do with 40. And if you want to subscribe to 40's YouTube channel, there'll be a link when his picture appears on screen for people watching on YouTube. Yeah. So let's begin then.
Right then. So starting off, let's start where it all began. So, how did you feel pre-season went before everything kicked off?
I think we had a fantastic pre-season. We started off the blocks. I think the only thing, the negative that come out of that was we weren't playing top opposition. Yeah. We were playing the likes of teams from Ireland, Bohemians, and we're playing like the teams Lochran from Belgium. You would say they're the equivalent of League 1, League 2, but wins breeds confidence. All in all, I was fairly happy that we're winning games. A lot of goals being scored. Only negative was we didn't see the squad being tested. A lot of new signings. That's obviously all the fans are really happy to see signings. I mean, Will, how did you feel it went?
I completely agree. I don't think we faced that difficult opposition apart from possibly Vitesse Arnhem.
Yeah.
But I think it was much more about the transition from Premier League to Championship. Obviously, Rafa coming in, coaching staff, getting that all sorted, getting out who we didn't want, essentially. So, yeah, that's probably my thoughts. 40, who's in spirit with us at the moment. Yeah.
So, 40, what do you think of how pre-season went?
I think pre-season went quite well. Loads of goals, undefeated. But we didn't really have an actual test, which is the reason why I think we got off to a bad start against Fulham and Huddersfield. If we played up against Premier League opposition or someone worthy of really testing us, I think we would have got off to a better start. But yeah, pre-season went well, which is a bit of a shocker because usually we don't have a really good pre-season. But obviously with Rafa on board, he had everything right from the get-go. Signings in before we started, everything settled, people out the door, so very organised, which is hardly unlike in Newcastle United, but it's the change of it's a sign of things to come.
Almost as though he was here. So, Lee, anything to add on to that?
Yeah, I think he's pretty much echoed what we've said. Lower league opposition weren't really tested. All in all, I think pre-season, 40 says it there, I think he pretty much agrees with what we've echoed really. So all in all, 40, yeah, I would agree. We're going to move on to question 2 as I choke to death. Right, Will, which of the signings out of all the Rafa ones over the summer excited you the most?
The standout one for me would be Matt Ritchie, mainly because I didn't expect it. Whenever I watched Matt Ritchie, even when Bournemouth played us, he was just brilliant. I thought he was probably one of their best players last season. So for him to drop down a whole level, especially when linked to West Ham, I thought was really, really big. Dwight Gale, I thought, to be honest, I was a bit sceptical about him. I wouldn't lie. I think if I was given the choice, you take Ross McCormack or Dwight Gale. Well, to be honest, a lot of fans would say Ross McCormack.
To be fair, I would have at the start of the season as well.
But Gale's definitely proved me wrong, and I hold my hands up to that one. Do you agree with me, or do you?
Do you know what it is? I wasn't too excited about most of them. I was more looking forward to Jesus Gamas because of the reputation that he had. Plays in the Champions League. He's had two years at Atletico. One of them was a regular, one of them not. So I was more, because I felt that the left back problem that we've had over the years, no disrespect to Haidara or Dummett, I think Gamas he's going to nail it down. He's going to be our first choice left back, and no nonsense crunching tackles, and I was looking forward. That's the one I was actually looking forward to. Matt Ritchie, I was more so. I was agree with you on the Gale thing. I think Diarmi at this level, because he scored a lot of goals for Hull at the Championship, I think it's goodbye. But all in all, I wasn't too. But in the Championship, you can't really, I don't know, get too excited because we're not the Premier League side anymore. I don't know. I mean, 40. You're here with us in spirit, 40. What do you think of it?
Just me the most. Well, I've been chopping and changing with this one. First of all, Isaac Hayden was my man. Really cool and calm, collected on the ball. You can show he's come from the Arsenal Academy. He obviously likes to get the ball down on the green stuff and play and get us moving. Then after that is probably Matt Ritchie. Again, we've missed an out-and-out winger for a long while, since the days of probably Genoa, really, going that far back, maybe Norberto Solano. So it's nice to have an actual winger in there. And then most recently, of course, it's got to be Dwight Gale. The goals speak for himself, basically. Out-and-out goal scorer, something that we've needed for a very, very, very long while. So those three would be my top three signings.
I think Fordy didn't really understand that question, I don't think. Because there's no way, Fordy, that you think that when Dwight Gale was signed for 10 million that he was going to be this big goal-scoring machine. However, what do you think, Will?
No, and Isaac Hayden. I mean, Hayden last season couldn't get in Hull's team, so I don't see why he'd be excited for that. And also one I do have to say that I forgot, I was also quite excited by Christian Atsu. Yeah. I thought he would be much better. I didn't really get a chance at Chelsea, but from what I had seen from a YouTube scouting, it did look. Well, to be fair, I said that about Remy Cabral, and that one. Well, let's not talk about him. So anyway,
40. I think we're going to have to disagree with you on that one, because if you knew that they were going to be big signings, big players at the start of the season, you can put me lottery on for me.
So the biggest change over the summer, I'd probably say, is how the board have acted.
Yeah.
So, do you think that them giving in to Rafa's demands, and when life does come after Rafa, although I think we all dread that day.
Yeah, we will.
Do you think the formula should remain the same? Do you think it will remain the same?
First of all, it should definitely even life after, God forsake it, when Rafa decides to part us for whatever reason in the future. He's not going to be here forever, we know that, so let's enjoy it. I think the formula has to be that way, because history just tells itself with the carry on with Pardew, Joe Kinnear, Chris Hughton was sacked unfairly. We've had Shearer on charge. I think it's just a bit of a joke how Graham Carr buys players. Yes, it's all right having a scout, but that's all it should be. He has a recommendation, that's it. Rafa having the demands is definitely the way forward. Even after that, even if it's someone who's not got a high calibre of a big name, that manager has to come in and manage the players and work with his players that he wants. What do you reckon, Will?
I thought it was going to change last season when McLaren got appointed, because I thought one of the key points of McLaren getting appointed was that he was also appointed to the board. A lot of people
it's
don't
a good
remember
point.
that. So I thought, okay, McLaren, probably not the best name we could have had, but he's on the board, he's there, he'll have more of an influence, but it just wasn't the case. I mean, I've read articles all over the place that he went in saying, right, I want Charlie Austin, Joey Barton, and then one of his Derby centre-backs.
Yeah.
Is what we got. And we gave him Wijnaldum, which I think is debatable on how that one turned out. Mitrovic, who I know we love, but
wasn't his signing, was it?
Yeah, probably wanted Austin. And then we didn't sign defenders properly, apart from Mbemba. But Colaccini was given another year, which really shouldn't have happened. Rafa coming in. I mean, I think, what you're saying about Jesus Gomez, I think another significant thing about that was we were signing an experienced right back.
As previously we had we were signing players under 25 for a sell-on profit, weren't we?
Yeah, and to sign someone who was like 31, experienced, proven, maybe a bit of a change of direction. Also, probably the board, if they was quoted £10 million for Dwight Gale, they probably would have said we don't want to pay that an English talent who, it from the Premier League. It's probably not the not got the best value compared to some people abroad. But Graham Carr, I think a lot of people said this, an expert in the French market when he misses out on Kante, Riyad Mahrez, only to name a couple, and bringing in Emmanuel Riviere is inexcusable, to be honest, so it has to change.
Has to change. Let's head over to 40, our man Dan South. Let's see what 40 has to say on the matter.
I think the board had no choice, really. I mean, being relegated, twice in 7 years says it all. So the fact that we're out of the Premier League is devastating to the whole of the North East, let alone Newcastle. We're a big loss in the Premier League, so obviously Ashley's missing out on a hell of a lot of money, and he had to give in to Rafa's demands. He had no way, because otherwise we would have been a big club in the Championship for a very, very long time, especially under a highest prestige manager. So Rafa was not only his plan A, but his plan Z, if you like, because he had no one else to really turn to. No one else wanted the job. The job was too big for a lot of managers, so it required a big manager like that. And with big managers like that, it comes with requirements and demands. So I'm glad to actually kind of had to bow down and take a step back, because not only is he's left Rafa to do what he does best, but it takes Mike Ashley out of the limelight. He can focus on what he needs to do, and Rafa can focus on what he needs to do as well, which is getting us back to the Premier League.
Couldn't agree with you more. Lee?
Yeah, he's pretty much got it spot on, especially he's pointed up on the Mike Ashley one there, where he's turned around and said Mike Ashley and takes a back step. I think also the likes of Charnley, Carr, Moncur take a step away from the club and just let Rafa do his thing. So definitely I would have to agree with Ford on that one. We'll seem pretty much I can't say the word, unanimous on that. So yeah, definitely let us know what you think of your thoughts and your comments down there below as well, if you're watching on YouTube, of course. Going to move on to question 4. Right, Will, I know what you're going to say, but the public don't. Were there any sides you were looking forward to playing in the Championship?
Brentford.
Why?
Well, the thing is that in my family that are dotted all over the country, I have a lot of people. Like my granddad supports Brentford. I've got cousins who support Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday. So sort of like playing them, and because I think, to be honest, I think my granddad would have preferred for us, for Brentford and Newcastle to meet in the Premier League, but so and behold, we haven't. But Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday, massive club. Nottingham Forest as well. I was quite excited to see what's a little bit in Albion, because I think they would bring a
yeah, we've had the Mackhams take the mickey out of that over the summer, haven't they?
Yeah. What about for yourself? Any surprise ones?
To be honest, I just didn't want to look forward to the Championship. I mean, brutally honest, I was nearly crying when we got relegated, as most people know. The fans, I think the Leeds one for me, because they've got a massive support, like ourselves, the long-suffering fans. So I think the atmosphere would be great. Brighton, Chris Hughton, I think I would like to see. Obviously, we've beat them at the start of the season. Yeah, let's see how we get on, because they could play football in the Premier League. And since Steve McLaren's now become manager of Derby, cannot wait until we play Derby at home. I cannot wait for that. If he wasn't there, I wouldn't care, but I'd love to see us do one over McLaren, definitely.
Yeah.
So let's hear what 40 has to say on the matter.
Any sides are looking to play at the start of the season? Yeah, obviously from where I'm from, I'm a London boy, West London at heart, so the 3 teams around my area was always Brentford, QPR and Fulham, and so far we've beat 2 out of 3 of them. It was disappointing to go back to Fulham, because I'm from around that area, and obviously get off to a bad start, but the other 2 games, obviously the 6-0 game at QPR and Brentford 3-1 was really good games as well, so I'm looking to obviously play them in obviously the the return fixture, and also pitting us against the likes of Brighton, coming up against Chris Hugh, and I thought we dominated them. I expected a little bit more from them, in fact, but it would be nice to play them again in the return fixture.
Well, as I've said earlier on in this podcast, he's a London boy, West London. So I think he's just giving his roots away. Would you agree along with that one? What he's saying? Well, he's a local lad, so you can understand he wants to play the likes of Fulham and Brentford, can't you?
I think one of the personal ones for myself, another one was the QPR, because I remember in the season that they went down, they beat us, and I think we won that game, which it was one that Riviere scored in.
Where he kicks it off his own foot.
Yeah.
The only goal he's ever scored.
Connected it the way he wanted it to, it would have gone wide.
Yeah.
Knowing Riviere, for them to beat us 2-1 was probably one of my low points. So to get one over them, especially 6-0, was very, very good.
Just going to go back to that. Aston Villa again to get payback.
Yes.
Aston Villa payback. If we could, I don't know, if Birmingham were to get in the playoffs ahead of Villa, I would give the Villa fans some stick just because of that fact alone. So anyways, we'll move on from that. We'll digest.
Okay. So obviously, right now we're kind of buzzing. We've been on a fantastic run. It's really good. However, we can't get away from the fact that it really, really didn't start well. Defeat away to Fulham. Defeat at home to Huddersfield. Were you worried?
Well, not massively. I remember doing the fan cams out. We had a guy on who was ranting and raving. He was not happy with calling all Newcastle fans deluded. We're not going to walk the league. I still said that we'll win the league. I even said that on that day that we'll win the league by 10 points. So I was still confident in Rafa. I still thought it'll be a long, long wait till. I didn't think we'll be top of the league as we are now after them 2 defeats. I thought we might be hanging around the playoffs and then we'll go on a surge on Christmas. But I wasn't too worried. I mean, Will, were you?
A little bit. I think I wouldn't lie and say that I didn't raise a couple of eyebrows, but it wasn't by the fact that we kind of like lost to Huddersfield at home. It was in the manner we lost. We really lost convincingly. I felt they really sort of controlled the game. I kind of sort of after that I kind of realised, okay, maybe it's not going to be as easy as we all thought, because I mean there were quite realistic bets on that we would go undefeated, but it's.
Well, look at Huddersfield now, where they are in the league.
I know it can change so quickly, but I think after I was a bit sort of angry after that. But then when I got back, it's like, look, 2 games out of 46. Look where we are now. It's absolutely.
We're doing all right, aren't we? So as ever, let's hear from 40 and see what 40's been saying on the matter.
I'm not going to lie to you, I thought it was a bit of doom and gloom, to be honest with you, at the start of the season. There was a high optimism at the start. We spent quite a lot of money, even though we did recoup a lot of money as well. And there was always high expectations on Newcastle United. There always is. It's always like people always looking at us, whether you're Newcastle United fans or not. So I expected to hit the ground running. We obviously got off to a bad start. Like I said earlier, I don't think we was that prepared from pre-season playing up against better opposition, tough opposition like Fulham and Huddersfield. But obviously we've gone on from there to make up for that, and now we're at the top of the league. But yeah.
Do you have anything really to add to that? I thought you summed it up quite well.
Yeah, spot on. He was doom and gloom. I wasn't personally. The opposite. I still had confidence in Rafa. So I think we'll move on from that one. Do you reckon? Yeah, because I think that was kind of split earlier on this season from that. We're going to move on to question 6, and we should have mentioned this at the start of the season. We are actually in Jamie's, if you're wondering what the background noise is around us. So we should have said that at the beginning, so apologises about that. Right, so Will, after Wijnaldum was sold, were you happy to see the amount of money that we got for Sissoko?
I don't think there's anyone in the land that would have been disappointed with money for Sissoko. I mean, I wasn't shocked to see either of them leave. I mean, especially Sissoko. We all kind of wanted him out. I remember sitting in Amsterdam watching that European final and just watching him play, and I was just going like, not happy. Going through my Twitter feed actually was quite hilarious, seeing like, is this Sissoko's twin brother? While he's actually locked away in Newcastle. But I was, out of the main 3 that departed, I was most disappointed with Townsend, to be honest.
Yeah, because he was so. He wanted to do well for himself,
but he looked like he cared and he really went for it. Wijnaldum, I think for both of them, I think probably towards the end, especially for McLaren, I think they both were kind of sort of seeing how it was going, and just thinking, well, we're either going to be relegated or
Sissoko
next
looked
season.
a different player when Rafa come in playing that number 10, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I never said Sissoko was a winger.
No,
I would never ever have
never.
done that. But lack of numbers put in there, and Alan Pardew. But in number 10, he did look much better. I mean, that last game against Tottenham,
It's phenomenal, wasn't he?
I know, but then Tottenham bought him, and now look at him. He's doing too well, is he?
No, so I'll touch on that as well. And so, I mean, the Sissoko money, we all knew it was going to happen. It was just a question of when, and we thought there was some. To be honest, there was some doubts in my head, thinking he's gonna stay. He's gonna stay because it was deadline day.
It went to the line.
And then he had a change of heart. He wasn't going to go to Everton, and I'm thinking, if he stays, we're going to have to use him. It's kind of like the Czech Toyota situation at the moment, where he's probably going to have to be used sooner rather than later. But yeah, 30 million, and look at him now. I mean, even Tottenham fans are giving him stick already. So,
I mean, we made a profit on him like 20 times what we bought for him. I think we only bought him for 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5 or 2 mil, wasn't it? It was barely nothing from Toulouse. Yeah, I'm guessing Fordy's quite happy with that as well. Let's hear from Fordy.
To be honest, I was more happy to get rid of Wijnaldum than Sissoko, believe it or not. Obviously, I wanted to get rid of Sissoko. All of his moans and groans was pretty much embarrassing for a player that's not really producing a black and white shirt. But Wijnaldum's the same. Obviously, he kept quiet. He went about his business differently to Sissoko, but I think he was highly overrated for what we saw him last season. Didn't turn up really away. Scored 9 goals or something for us, but a couple of them were penalties. Most of them were in the Norwich game, so I was happy to make a profit on Wijnaldum and obviously get 30 minutes of Sissoko. Great piece of business by the club.
What do you reckon then? He's not too. He's more upset. More with Wijnaldum going rather than Sissoko. What do you think?
More upset with Wijnaldum leaving.
Yeah, he's more happy with. Sorry, he's more happy. I beg your pardon. With Wijnaldum going than Sissoko.
Well, Wijnaldum. Well, I can't say his name. When Wijnaldum started, he looked really, really good.
Blistering, didn't he? First 3 months.
Yeah. I mean, he scored in his debut as well. Obviously, Norwich game was a bit of a standout. And towards the end, he didn't. He just didn't really perform. But to be honest, is that I just really grew a dislike to Sissoko. I mean, things on social media, what his agent's saying. Wijnaldum at least went about it quite respectfully.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
And
so he's the type of player. I'll just throw this question in: would you have Wijnaldum back at the club in the future?
Yes.
Say I would as well.
I would.
Would you have Sissoko back?
No.
There you go.
I want us to face Tottenham.
So we're both.
And I want him to get broken.
So we both agree with each other that we disagree with you, Fordy.
Yeah.
So unlucky Fordy. Right. So moving on then.
So we've had 2 main runs this season.
Yeah.
However, we did suffer that really shock defeat and really standout defeat to Wolves. Will there be any more, or is that it?
Nah, I think there will be. I mean, I can remember when Reading won the league a few years back. They only got 2 defeats. I think Newcastle could suffer another 4 or 5
Really?
coming up. Yeah, I do think we can suffer a few more and still win the league quite comprehensively because the teams around everybody. I mean, look at Norwich on free fall at the moment. Huddersfield are on free fall.
Yeah.
We could still suffer 3-4 defeats and still be in amongst the promotion chase. I do think.
Yeah.
There could be a Burton Albion away. You just don't know. I mean, Sunderland fans will have a field day on that. But I do think there'll be a bit of a surprise. Do you not feel the same?
Oh, I definitely think we'll lose again. The main ones I would say is definitely Brighton away. I would be surprised if we didn't lose that one. I can't remember how far that is, but teams, they can hit good form, and we've shown that it doesn't matter. At times, form doesn't matter. We can still form's there to be broken. I would probably say. But like you said, it can happen against little teams because everyone wants to face us. Everyone wants to be the team at Newcastle, essentially. And we've seen teams at St James's Park. I wouldn't say any of them have been apart from Preston in the Cup, I wouldn't say that any of them have at least not given it a go.
Yeah. Well, we'll hear from the man from down south. We'll hear from 40, what you got to say on the matter?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, it was a bit of a strange one, losing to Wolves of all teams, Obviously we lost the first 2 games as well, but losing to Wolves, a team that was quite low in the league, when we played them as well, and obviously when we played them the next week or the following game, sorry, it just went to show, they're not that challenging, if you like, compared to where we are at. So I think we will lose again. If we do lose, I know it sounds strange, but I hope it's against better opposition rather than a team like that. Just because I think we're better than them. We're better than a lot of teams. The only teams that I can really see troubling us at the moment is the teams at the top, your Brightons, Huddersfields, and that's it really. Norwich City as well, of course. But I can see us losing again. It'll be nice to go on an unbeaten run. It'll be more than nice. I mean, we're currently 7 games unbeaten, 8 altogether. Things gonna happen. We're still in the month of November, so we've got a hell of a long way to go. So who knows?
Anything to add, Lee? I mean, do you agree with what Fordy said?
Nah, I've got to disagree with you, Fordy.
Yes, again.
I've got to do. Well, that's what we're here for, isn't it? If we're going to suffer defeats, I don't want to be against the big boys because they're taking points from me.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm quite happy to take a defeat off Burton or Rotherham.
Well, not really, but
well, if we had to. I don't want Brighton to gain 3 points on us by beating us.
Yeah.
For me, I'd rather get beat by a lower end side rather than a promotion rival. What about you?
Well, I don't want to lose.
Well, we know if it was to happen.
If we say we had to have 3 defeats, I think I'd kind of want something in between, to be honest.
You wouldn't want a Brighton or a Norwich?
No, I wouldn't want them taking points off us, but I wouldn't want to kind of be embarrassed, because if we lose to Burton at home, let's say, imagine how
I would take a loss against Burton at home than a loss against Brighton or Norwich away, just because I don't want them getting points, and that's controversial. People are going to, some of you are going to agree, some of you aren't.
Yeah. Let's just go for draws.
Right, we'll move on from that because that one is going to cause a little bit of debate. Right, so at the minute we're top of the league, and funny enough, we're talking about Brighton just there. They're second in the league at the minute. Right, well, is it us and Brighton, or can anyone else, another side, come in and challenge?
Oh, I think so. I mean, Norwich would top at 1 point. That Norwich game winning 4-3. Imagine if we lost it. Imagine if we didn't win.
Yeah,
because it would completely have turned it around. I mean, I think we ended up being 1 point behind Norwich, and we could have been 7 within about a minute. It was a massive thing to happen. Huddersfield are on a fantastic run. I think there's still quite a lot of teams. I mean, Leeds came from out of nowhere. I mean, they started terribly. They lost 3-0 to QPR at home, QPR away, which is a terrible result looking at it now. But now they're into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a big game for us, massively. Well, I'll carry on from the back on to that. I think at the minute it's too early to say. I think at the minute I think the best 2 teams are the top of the league for a reason. The table, doesn't lie. I think Norwich will come back into it. I think Christmas time is key, because that's when you're starting to have. I know we play once every 2 weeks. We've got about 4 games.
Yeah.
But Christmas time there'll be another one to be added in because it's busy, like Saturday, Friday, and Boxing Day. Then something stupid like that, I think in the minute it's us and Brighton. I think in the long run, I think Villa will creep up the table, get to the playoffs. Leeds look good at the minute. That'll be a big game when we play them coming up. Yeah. But I have to say at the minute I'm going to stick with Brighton, and it's Brighton's and Newcastle's to lose at the minute. I wonder what Fordy thinks of that.
Well, let's ask him.
Yeah, let's ask him. Fordy.
I believe it's between us and Brighton, but I think there's a couple more in the pack. Obviously, Huddersfield's early on was giving it the big one, saying they're going to win the league. I remember when I put out my review and I had loads of Huddersfield people coming out of the woodwork, telling me that, don't get too ahead of yourselves. It's a tough league, and look how things have changed around. But I do believe it's between us, Brighton, Huddersfield, and Norwich City. I think those will be the main 4. And there's usually a surprise team coming out of the pack. I would like to say Villa, but they're too far gone at the moment for them to challenge. But I know there's going to be a surprise team coming out of the woodwork, that's for sure.
Interesting. Who you reckon there's going to be a surprise in the playoffs? Do you reckon?
Not sure. I think Villa could. Does Villa class as a surprise? I don't know, because they started terribly.
Not really, but
they
from where they are in the league.
Yeah, from the start of the season, you'd say Villa should get in the playoffs, but
Who's
think
Birmingham, Leeds, would you say are they the two?
I think Birmingham, they get them getting in. I think I would be surprised if they got in. I think Leeds, considering their plight, but I did expect under Gary Monk they would be a bit better.
Yeah.
But they have such an unstable club. It could all.
You could get fired next week and wouldn't.
You can get fired tomorrow.
Because we'll move on from the Leeds owner then. Right, let's head over to the next one then, Will.
So, right now we're in the international break. From the new signings, who's impressed you? Who's disappointed?
I think we've got to start with Gale. Mystic Meg Fordy already predicted that at the start of the season. I think Richie's looked decent. Who else? I tell you who has surprised me the most out of every single one is Kieran Clark. For me.
Yeah.
At the start of the season I thought, oh no, we've got another Mike Williamson on our hands here. There's a mistake in him. But you know what it is? He surprised me the most out of all the signings. I know Gale's got the goals and he'll get the headlines. But Kieran Clark for me is, for 5 million, I was like, nah. But he's looked superb. Him and Lascelles at the centre-back has pushed our best defender, in my eyes, Mbemba, out the side. For me, I mean, disappointments. I think he's a scammers because he hasn't played.
Yeah.
Darryl Murphy's another one. I did say that Darryl Murphy was a bit of a waste of money earlier on in the season. I think those two, Lazar potentially, but we haven't seen enough of him. So I think Lazar will come good in the long run. Short term, not yet. What about you, Will?
I have to agree. Obviously, Gale surprised me by how good he's been. I thought when we got him after I sort of really thought about it, I thought, well, maybe it'll work well. I was a bit sceptical, especially when we started. Him just lobbed up front on his own, not really having anyone to work with. But he's done very, very well since. Other impressors, obviously Matt Ritchie, which obviously I saw from the get-go that he was going to be good. The place you talked about, Gamez hasn't played. I really can't pass judgment. I would have expected him to play more.
Why isn't he? Why is he not playing?
I think he's just injured. I think
He's
all
just
the
injury
time.
prone. Can he not get used to the side or the physicality? Because he's a brute player,
I know, but I definitely agree with you. Kieran Clark has massively surprised me. I thought he would be fourth choice behind Grant Hanley, and Grant Hanley hasn't really had a sniff in.
Kick, has he?
Lazar, I think again, like you said, will come good. I think probably the biggest disappointment, I would have to say, especially considering how much he's played, is Diame.
Yeah.
I thought he would have played. I thought he'd be much, much better than he has been.
And he himself has admitted it, which is profession.
Yeah.
That he hasn't been up for it, which there's still things about the thing with what you mentioned. Diame is he just looks lazy, doesn't he? He just he looks like a horse who's just done. When the horse runs and then it just starts to trot and it's tired.
Is this one of your metaphors?
I'm just trying to explain it for people who are listening.
The best example I could get was the Preston Cup game. Diame, it was his best game by a long way.
I know what you're going to say.
So Mitrovic knocks it down. Like I'm talking bottom corner, right? And then 2 minutes later he missed an open goal, a falling over, literally hit and miss.
I was next to you in that game, wasn't I?
Yes.
Oh, hey, that was just awful. I wonder what our man down south, our correspondent down there, has got to say on the matter. 40.
So far, I've been impressed with the main three. Hayden, he gets things ticking over for us in midfield, and he's the perfect partner for Shelvey. Shelvey's Mr. Hollywood, Mr. GPS as I call him. He can pick a ball out from anywhere, but you also need someone who's more disciplined. That's why we've got Hayden and Cole back in there. So Hayden, we're impressed by. Rich is a 4, great winger. Good to have some natural width on either side, and probably, obviously Gale as well with the return that he's given us already. But in terms of people I've not been impressed by, I wouldn't say not impressed, but I've just not seen enough of him. Lazar, I don't know what's going on with him so far. Is it fitness? Is it, if he's not getting the preferential treatment over Dummett? Everyone thought he was going to walk into the team over Dummett, but Dummett's held his own. Yedlin's not really came into it that much. Obviously he's played a couple of games, you've got on the score sheet, but he needs a better run and form, because I really can't see him playing that much when we get into the Premier League. I don't rate him that much defensively. I still think he's got a lot to learn. The only thing that he's got on his side is pace. Defensively he's not that great. And then obviously the other one is probably Daryl Murphy. You haven't really not even seen anything really. He's only played one game really in the cup. So those were the ones that I would say have not impressed me, only because I've not seen that much of them. Everyone else so far has come good. Clark, I've been impressed by. I didn't think he would be a Newcastle United starting, but now he looks like a mainstay in the side alongside the Sells. Hadley's probably another one that I haven't seen too much of. And of course Shaky Stevens, aka Matt Sells, didn't go off to the best of starts, and I probably didn't give him enough time. But do we really have enough time to give people time in this championship? We want to get back into the Premier League. The first time I've asked him, we've got more than enough goalkeepers chomping at the bits, looking to get a goal. Obviously, Lee, I'm a big Darlow fan, so it was a given that he should have been in there from the get-go. So probably Sells is another one I haven't been impressed by out of all of them.
I mean, there's a couple of players we haven't talked about, like Yedlin, for example, who I think has been very, very good. Would you say, are there any more you would add? You would add to the list?
He's mentioned Yedlin. I'm going to ask you the question then. We've seen Yedlin bought. He's been playing right wing, but he was bought as a right back as well.
Yeah.
He has played a right back as well.
Yeah.
Rafa likes that flexibility. Do you think that's a strength or a disadvantage?
I think versatility is a strength. Obviously to an extent. If you just say, because obviously, like James Milner, for example, just said, "I'll play anywhere," and he does.
Left back at the minute.
But Yedlin, he's that quick. He's just that quick that it almost makes sense for him to be a right winger. He bombs on that much. I mean, Fordy talks a lot about some of our current players.
Yeah.
I think one person he missed out that I think we do have to mention is Jan Gouffran, because he's virtually unrecognisable to the player that was before.
He's a revelation, isn't he?
Yeah.
And there's that old question. I put the video out on the channel. If you haven't seen it, go head over. It's to offer him a new contract. That's going to open up a massive debate.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very hit and miss, because I think it's
at this level. If we didn't get promoted, I would.
Yes.
If we get promoted, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think there are better options out there.
Yeah, there is. Another one he's mentioned there, just captain up on that, is he's got a soft spot, it sounds like, for Hayden. He's gone around his business.
Loves Isaac Hayden.
He's gone around his business fairly quietly, hasn't he? And he's got his call up to the under-21s now.
I do have to say I have been impressed with Isaac Hayden. I mean, as a defensive midfielder, there's a definite lack of physicality we've had in there because Tiote was so hit and miss and threatened to leave so much that the physicality that he gives us that Anita really doesn't at 5'2", or whatever he is. It's and he's so calm on the ball, and I think he's a very, very good purchase.
He's mentioned Matt Sells there. We didn't really bring it up there because he's been awful, hasn't he? Not awful. That's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Nervous.
Yeah, I think he got a lot of pressure put onto him. I think him coming in. I mean, there are so many goalkeepers we have now. Even with Tim Krul leaving, so for him to come in, it's like, he has to be as good as Krul. He has to be as good as Elliott. And it is a big stage for him. And it's like, he's in the Championship. This guy's playing the Champions League. He should walk. What do you make of the Twitter abuse he got? Don't agree with it. Shocking, isn't it? Shouldn't never happen. Shouldn't happen to a footballer. You support your team. I'm one of the most critical people out there. If someone plays bad, I won't jump on Twitter and personally send him a death threat or a. There's a line. There is definitely a line. It's just absolutely so. You're not Newcastle fans, in our opinion. Right. Anyways, we'll move on because that'll wrangle on that one, the Cell situation. Right. Talking of actually players there, we've got January approaching. Of course, the media gets overhyped with speculation that will mount. So, do we have any positions that we need to strengthen, Will? I think the main one that a lot of people talk about is number 10. Mainly because Diame is the only real option. Perez, arguably, but I have to sort of. I'm not too sure where we sort of take with Perez. Number 10, but also looking at wingers, especially long term. I mean, right wingers. They're obviously Richie. Atsu can play either, but Aaron's again, he's only on loan. Is he going to sign permanently? Aaron's. I thought he was going to be, when we got relegated, I thought he was going to be, number one starting. He still could be. He still could be. Being got competition there now. But he's got competition. Do we need to look at it? Do we need to really up the quality of wingers? I'm not so sure. Strikers, Mitrovic, Gale, is that what we want? I think when we look at transfers now, we have to say, is it now? Is it for the next season when we're potentially in the Premier League? I think it's difficult to balance out. What would you say?
It's because it's depending what division we're in. I think for me, I have to agree that number 10 is a problem at the moment because Diarme just doesn't look the answer. He's struggling. Perez is hit and miss
as well.
Yeah, Perez is hit and miss. Rafa's not going to change the formation. Maybe he'll trial it at some point in the season, but because of the situation that number 10 is probably, we all used to say Paul Dummett's a problem. We used to always say that.
Yeah.
But the championship level, no. I think I would see how it goes until January. For me personally, probably just a loan.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go in and buy someone. I would probably just loan someone in, and there's an extra body. Strikers, I think we're all right because we're playing one up top anyways. I don't think we need another one because Darryl Murphy can't even get in the 18 squad. Goalkeepers were sorted. I think full-back situations were all right. Centre-backs were fine. Maybe another defensive midfielder if Tiote goes.
Yeah.
Maybe just an extra cover because Colback and Hayden are the only two natural ones that we've got.
Yeah, maybe one more body because Anita's been more of a right back.
Yeah, because Anita's now a right back now. Has changed any. I don't know. What does our man 40 got to say on that? 40, what do you think?
So coming into the January transfer window, who do we sign? Well, I still think we're short of two positions. One is that attacking midfielder. I still don't think we've properly filled the hole yet. Diarme's in there. He's hit and miss. I call him Sissoko in disguise. He's really had two decent games. The one game against Bristol, the assist for Gal, and obviously the second one was obviously against Preston in the 6-0, but that was against a weak opposition. Otherwise, apart from that, he just looks too lethargic, not interested, doesn't track back that much, and we need someone else in there. Obviously, the other option is Perez, and again, he's too hit and miss as well. Too lightweight. Sometimes he looks on fire, like he could be playing for Barcelona, and then the other time, he looks like he'll struggle to make it into your Sunday League team. So I still think we need a number 10 in there. Who knows who it's going to be? I still think Knockout would have been a fantastic signing. I don't think he's going to go anywhere anytime soon, no now. But it would have been nice to see someone who just reminds you of Ben Arthur, who can take the ball, run at players with pace, with skill, with the ability, and it's just a shame that we didn't put in a higher bid to get him over the line. The other second position I would say is we definitely need another striker. It's all well and good Gale scoring 11 in 12 games at the moment and Mitro getting on the score sheet every now and then, but I still think we need another out-and-out striker, especially for the Premier League. I think now in January we'll be signing for not only this remaining 6 months, obviously from January, but also looking ahead into the Premier League. So it'd be nice to get someone who can also contribute to the goals as well.
Right. Anything to add to what 40 just said about that?
Well, he agrees with me with the number 10.
Yeah, agrees with us. Yeah. Striker.
Yeah, I think we're sort of split on this one. It's I think there's definitely a room for a striker, but not for a numbers purpose, as a quality purpose, because Gale in the Premier League, I think, did all right for Palace, but
wasn't getting the chances, was he?
Yeah, I wasn't convinced. Mitrovic, 8 goals last season. As many, we could go on all day about why that was, but I think maybe if there was an opportunity to come about, if not at Liverpool, Klopp, I think, could still move out a couple of players, wherever. But it's just speculation. I'm not sure.
And the Knockout one, would be linked to him. As he said, it would have been nice to get him, but I don't think that'll occur.
So, maybe looking at some of the younger players to break through. Any caught your eye?
Yeah, Sean Longstaff follows me on Twitter, by the way.
Cheeky dig.
He's got something ridiculous like 11 goals in 10 games or 9 goals in 8 games, something like that. Anyways,
right.
Scoring goals, and he play the holding role. He can play the number 10. That's where he's been playing. I think he's the key one. A lot of big talk about Freddie Woodman, of course. England now under 21 now. Carl Roberts, who's an under 20. So they're the main three that seem to be getting a lot of attention. Maybe Stuart Finley, who were bought from Celtic. He could potentially in the future break through, but I don't know. What about yourself?
I think there's definitely room for a couple. I mean, you said Longstaff. I mean, as number 10 possibly as the future. I think, there's also the kids out on loan. Not Vukic, not Amiobi. More thinking in terms of Armstrong, Jamie Sterry at right back. I think Sterry has definitely has potential. I think Armstrong, I think a lot of pressure is being put on him at the minute, not by Barnsley but by us, because I think we all, when we saw him sort of break through, I think we kind of expecting he's going to be like our knight in shining armour kind of thing. He's going to be Shearer Mark
He's going to
II.
be our new number 9.
Yeah. And he didn't, and I think it was kind of made to him pretty clear. And I think it's good management from Rafa Benitez to say, like, look, we want to put you in a championship team, and we will, but right now we don't want to put you in ours because there's so much expectation for us to win this thing that maybe alone at Barnsley where there's no expectation.
Go out and prove to me.
Yeah.
I wonder what our man Fordy thinks of that. Shall we ask him?
Why not?
Oh, speaking of the under-23s, I am a big fan of Ben El Mahani. I hope I got that right. I've seen all the tricks and flicks on YouTube. Looks amazing. He does remind me of a younger Ben Arfa. So speaking of, getting the lights knockout here, maybe we have got someone like that already in the camp already. The only thing I've heard that's not on his favour, doesn't work in his favour is his positional sense. He's great on the ball, tricks and flicks, but in terms of tracking back and getting his position, that's what he needs to work on. So he's going to be in there for a while, from what I hear. The other player that I keep hearing of a lot is Longstaff. So he might be one to watch out for as well. And the young defender that we signed alongside Ben El Mahani, I think is it Finlay? Great big strapping centre half. I think we signed him from Celtic as well, so he might make an appearance quite soon as well. So fingers crossed, at least we can get someone through the youth system as well, because in recent years our youth system has been failing us now. We've only got the likes of Dummett and Armstrong, who we can really call first teamers, who've broke through into the first team, and it's only Dummett who's really come through the youth ranks to make it into the first team, because even Adam Armstrong's been loaned out as well, and a lot of other players have been loaned out as well. So we need to sort that out. That is something that I'm sure Rafa will want to sort out during his 3-year stay, or even longer at Newcastle United, getting the youth product stronger as Liverpool's is now. They've had the likes of Sterling come through and Jordan Ibe come through. We need to have players that can not only perform at that level but can perform at a higher level through our youth ranks as well. So that's something that we need to sort out, because there's talent in the northeast. You've only got to look at the likes of Shearer and Carrick, and they've had to go elsewhere, but they're born and bred in the northeast. That shouldn't really be happening, because anyone who's got an ounce of sporting talent should be coming through the academy, and we should have first refusal, not having to go pick them off at a later date like we did with Shearer.
Well, seems very strongly opinion, seems to see a lot of development games with his in-depth scouting.
Yeah, you can have talk there, can't you?
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's right about Sean Longstaff. Adam Armstrong, spot on. It's interesting he mentioned Yassin El-Banani, who's got all the tricks in the book, is all over YouTube.
Yeah.
He looks, I think he's right, if Peter Beardsley can get him working on not the fancy stuff, the actual teamwork, tracking back, I think he could potentially be the next Ben Arfa, so to speak.
Yeah.
So there's some players he's mentioned there. What about you? Do anything to add on that?
I think it's always difficult with young players, because some are obviously very talented, some don't have the work ethic, some don't have this. Us in the North East, there is a massive history of players that come from here. And we all want to see that local hero, because the Shearer, mainly from the Shearer story. But what I don't want is young players being put in the first team for the sake of it. They need to be good enough. They need to contribute something. If they're good enough, then by all means. But not just for that
reason alone.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Cool. Let's move on then. Right. So with the buzz high at the minute, can you describe why do you love Rafa? What is it about Rafa?
Why do I love Rafa? I think there's the connection with the fans. To be honest, is that he always, whenever in every interview that he did since he signed on to us permanently. It's by the fact that he, it's I came here for the fans, it was all for the fans. We desperately wanted him to stay, and this club could have really gone under if he hadn't. So I think he knows that, we care so much about him. There's not a lot of managers of his caliber, if any, of his caliber, that would have stayed. I think for him to show that by staying is a massive thing. I think it's a massive statement of how much potential he sees in this club. What about for yourself?
Yeah, I think what's even more, I'm touching on what you just said, especially because he's a foreigner, it's more impressive.
Yeah.
Bobby Robson's a local lad. We loved him, absolutely loved him. I've never really had anyone since. I think if Shearer had a long stint, we'd probably fall in love with him again.
Yeah.
But because Rafa's foreign and Spanish, he just gets. It's very. Rafa's already pointed that his relationship with Liverpool fans is extremely similar to Newcastle fans. If you talk to any Liverpool fan, they love Rafa.
Yeah.
Absolutely adore him. Yes, he won the European trophy and so on. That helps, but he just gets
Just a bit.
He just gets what the fans want. He sees it from take your head off and think of it as a fan. Look at it from the outside. He mentions the fan press conferences. He just runs through it all. He wants to do well for himself, of course. Yeah. He wants to do well for the fans. But Rafa's putting a reputation on the line for coming to a smaller club to what he's been used to. That's no disrespect to us lot, because we are quite small compared to the other clubs that he's been to,
Yeah. You saw that video where he goes to West End and he goes to see the young lads on the football pitch with Jamal Lascelles.
Things charity work.
Yeah, not a lot of that time that happens. I know they would do it from time to time, but to really properly connect
and the Foundation Award the other night as well, that was pretty special.
And he set up the really young kids cup, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, and he's done that, and he literally revamped all of the training ground. He's a workaholic.
He gets it as well.
He gets that. I'm sure 40 will echo what we've got to say about 40.
Well, let's find out.
Yeah, let's.
I think the reason why Rafa's loved so much is because he gets it. He knows that Newcastle United is a one club city. People enjoy coming to games, whether they're die-hard Newcastle United fans or they're just popping by or in for the weekend, and that's the reason why they get such high attendances at games. He was at Liverpool. He can feel the same vibe that he had at Liverpool at Newcastle United, and he always goes on about the fans. Anytime I speak to him at a press conference or I see him on TV, he always regards the fans. He gets how much the club means to people that live in the local area, and they've been starved of good times and silverware, and that's something that he wants to do. When he first signed, he was talking about the 3-year project, and the fact that we can have someone with quality who wants to be here longer than 5 minutes and says all the right things, he gets all the right players, he's done everything correct, he's come in, made the signings early, he's filled in the right positions. He's got time for people in the media, he's got time for fans, he's even turning up at foundation dues and all the rest of it. We needed someone like that. We haven't had someone like that since Keegan or Bobby Robson, because managers have come in here before, said it's a job, and when it's a job it's not that endurable. When he's coming in here, he's saying it's a project and he's connected with all the right people, so that's the reason why he's loved. And obviously his resume does the talking, really. As I said before, we haven't had someone who's coming in here with a proven pedigree. We've had people coming here, used us as a stepping stone to go on to what they might think is bigger and better things. With Rafa, he's been there, done it, and he respects the fact that we are where we are. He wants to get us to a certain place, and he takes one game at a time. He's not full of himself. He could be, and rightfully so with his CV, but he wants to come in and prove a point, and I don't think he will leave until he's done what he needs to do and gets back to the Premier League and pick up a trophy along the way. So that's the reason why Rafa's loved so much. And to be honest with you, if he succeeds with all of that, which I think he will, I think he'll be respected even more than Keegan and Bobby Robson. I really do, because as much as they're loved and adored, they didn't do the one thing that eluded him, is get us a trophy. And if he does that, boy, Rafa Benitez can have the key to the city.
Interesting stuff what he said there. Anything that you want to add on, Will, to what 40 just said there?
I think it's I completely agree with him. I mean, he almost takes the words straight off my mouth. When you look at his CV, it's so easy. A lot of managers these days, they're so egocentric, they're so full of themselves. for him to really take this step back. You know, he came from Real Madrid, but I also think another reason why is like, you know, you talk about the relationship with Liverpool fans. His, you know, at Chelsea and at Real Madrid, he just was not appreciated at all by the fans. And Newcastle, you know, I think he knew it was a risk. But you know, the managers that we've had in the past, Alan Pardew, McLaren, you know, they're not, you know, we haven't really connected to them properly, I would say. I don't think so.
No.
They just haven't taken to the city as.
I think you're right. I think we're all pretty in love with Rafa. He's like my second dad, isn't he? That's what he is.
Yes.
So we've only a couple more questions to run through. We're going to start. Actually, I'll start this one off, then Will. Right. So when we go up, not if, when we go up, is safety priority, or should we achieve more?
That's a difficult one, actually. You know, when we came up last time, I think we finished 12th. I think
Mid-table we did, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we finished 5th, didn't we?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think, you know, it has to be said, you know, safety is priority to survive. However, I think, you know, with the squad now, I would say we have a better squad this season than we did last season. I think as an overall balance, especially, you know, even, you know, I would even, you know, whatever. But I think we could definitely go into mid-table. You know, we've shown so far this season a cup run is still possible.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we face slightly easier opposition, but you know, you still have to. You have to be what's in front of you. Still have, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. See how we get on. But you know, I think we could take on a lot of teams. And there's a lot of self-confidence there. I think St James's Park will be booming next season when we go up.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? Do you agree?
Yeah, I think even with the squad that we had last season, if the league started when Rafa took over, we would have finished 9th, I believe, from when Rafa took over. So I think, of course, Rafa's probably played safe in the media. That safety is priority, and then we build.
Ranieri did that, and look what happened. So.
I think Newcastle's too big of a club to actually just go for staying up.
Yeah.
It's literally the 9th biggest supported side in Europe this season.
Yeah.
I think you've got to look at the top 10 realistically, and probably will buy players in I was going to say January, in the end of the season when we go up.
It's also a massive attractiveness, isn't it?
It's Rafa Benitez as well. It's not just Newcastle, it's Rafa. You might go out and buy Real Madrid right back first. Just to give you, not saying that you might do that, but you know what I mean, like a big name.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, we've got him. You know, like that. 40, what do you think?
So you mean when we go up, not if we go up, when we go up. The priority, I know what Rafa will say because he's a very cautious guy. He'll say staying up. And for a club like Newcastle United, as much as we will probably agree, our head will say yes, but our heart will say, you know what, let's challenge for something, let's go for something, let's get top 8. That's where we belong. We're too far removed to be challenging for top 4 right now. I think even in the previous season before we was looking for top 8, so top 4's way out of bounds at the moment, but top 8 is not too far out of our reach. I really believe that. I mean, we've still got money in the bank. We've got Premier League quality players at the club at the moment, so I don't see the reason why we can't challenge at least top 8, top 10 around that area there. So I think that'll be the priority for them, and then take the cup seriously as well. You know, we're in the Championship, and look how we've taken our first cup seriously already. We're through to the quarterfinals already in the Championship. So lo and behold, if we get into the Premier League, God knows where we could get to with more Premier League players in the squad.
Yeah, anything to add? I think he's echoing what I've just said, hasn't he?
Yeah,
pretty much we shouldn't be just going for safety. We should be aiming for higher things.
We should be. I mean, I think there's really no bounds as long as Rafa is here. I mean, it's almost sad to think that, you know, you can factor in a 3-year contract, it'll be 2 seasons, so hopefully he extends it.
Yeah.
But I think within 2 seasons, we could definitely, I say in the second season we're in the Premier League, hopefully a European.
Yeah, well, how was Fuchs was saying the club should be going for Europe.
Yeah.
He was saying that just a couple of days ago, last week. You've seen that, so
Dare I say, a European push is on the cards.
Well, you never know. We can dream. I think
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah. Stranger things have happened today. Donald Trump, president of the USA.
Woo.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
That's all I will say on the matter.
Okay.
Goodbye, you Mexicans. Moving on.
Oh, wow. So, final question. So, if this side, as it is right now, went up, would it stay up?
I think it would scrape just staying up.
Really?
I do. I think the squad isn't
With
good
Rafa?
enough. With Rafa, yeah. I know that will be biased, but if right now, if this squad was to go up and say, right, we're Premier League, I think it's because we've got a lot of buys. Isn't it disagree with me on that? The lot of buys that we've got are lower end Premier League, Championship, top end.
Okay.
If you're asking like if Kieran Clark in the Premier League, your first choice centre back, no, not really. Paul Dummett, no, not really. The goalkeeper, you could pick Crowler Elliott next season. There's a lot of players across that league, across the side. You're thinking Colback, Hayden, they're not Premier League, not top end Premier League players. The strikers, I think, we'll still have to strengthen there all over again. The wingers, I think this side will just stay up with Rafa in charge. I think probably somewhere like about 15th, 16th if we win the Premier League right now. You're going to disagree with me, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Well, it's like a surprise everyone say we go down. No, I'm joking. But I think I wouldn't say we scrape through. I think Swansea and Sunderland have proved so far how how unprepared some teams can be. But so there's the argument to say there are definitely, I would say, 3 worse teams than us, potentially 4. I think with Rafa, it's more than just kind of the players he's brought in. I think the confidence he breathes into some of them, is an extra couple of results. I mean, I've said it. I think the squad is better than the one that finished last season. And in that last season, we went on. We didn't. Was it the last 6 games we didn't lose?
Yeah.
Including beating Tottenham.
Well, we finished 9th if the league started when.
Exactly. So
I think that's a better. Some of the better name players. We're going to agree to disagree. I mean,
I think we'll agree to disagree on that.
I think for me, we'll stay in the Premier League at least.
Yeah, we will stay. I mean, that's something. As a transfer window.
And I believe Fordy's got a long message to send to us about this. Fordy, over at you.
Yeah.
Is the squad good enough to compete at Premier League level? At the moment, I would actually say yeah. As weird as it sounds, I think our squad is a lot stronger than what we had when we went down. We're more balanced now than we've ever been. Anytime a manager's come in, you can check the record books. In the last 4 or 5 managers at least, they always go for those midfield signings and just pack out the midfield, and we end up being top heavy in midfield, not enough strikers and not enough decent defenders. I like the way Rafa's moved. He's come in. He's signed midfielders, don't get me wrong, but he's signed wingers, which we haven't had in a while. He signed an out-and-out goal-scoring Gale, which he wanted, and he signed defenders as well, which we haven't had in a long while. We've now got 2 in each position. Goalkeeping position probably oversubscribed. So with those players, we've at least got a good 3 or 4 players that are Premier League quality. Hayden, Richie, Gale, and I'd probably say, Clark's played there as well, but I would say Lascelles as well. It just goes to show, Chelsea are already sniffing around him if the rumours are true, so they must think quite highly of him as well. So I'd say 4 or 5 are Premier League quality already. There's probably another 4 or 5 that could go on to be Premier League quality as well. And then with that, I think we just need strengthening that spine as well. As I said before, in January, sign another striker, sign another attacking midfielder, and then maybe, and then obviously maybe just sign another centre half as well, just for cover as well, because I'm still not too sure about Hanley. I think the star of the show at the moment is obviously Shelby, so again, he's another Premier League quality player that can do it. But the only thing about him that I'm worried about is, will he get the same freedom that he has got in the Championship at the moment? Yes, he's got Hayden and Colback to do the donkey work for him, but the Premier League's a lot faster pace. Will he have to drop a lot deeper to get the ball to do what he needs to do? Because at the moment he's looking like a world beater only because, you know, we're coming up against the quality of opposition that we're coming up against is not obviously the same as the Premier League. So I just want to see if he can do it in the Premier League. He's done it before for Swansea, but I just want to see how he would fare under Rafa in the Premier League, and can he shine like he's been shining now.
Well, I think he sides with me on this one, maybe slightly, but I think he kind of sort of shares our points. Do you have anything more to add to young Fordy?
Yeah, I think he's right in saying that the squad needs strengthened.
Yeah, of course.
He thinks that this side will stay in the Premier League. I think it will do, but I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be 6 points minimum.
Yeah.
If we're still. He hadn't won Premier League quality. He's untried for. I'd have to disagree with that one slightly because you can't get any. Well, it's an Arsenal side which is full of talent in midfield, especially. But I would agree with the Shelby one. Shelby is a Premier League player. We've got at least one standout player who should be in the Premier League. We can probably be playing for a top 10 side. What about you, Will?
I agree. I think sort of the Rafa effect, if you like. Sort of towards the end of last season, we were really digging out results. Not just beating teams. Crystal Palace springs to mind.
Yeah.
I think there are certain attributes that need to be added. I think maybe a bit of pace, especially out wide. I think the spine needs to be a bit more strengthened. I think there are some players that still need to prove themselves.
Yeah.
But I don't see any reason why it couldn't finish. Maybe not. A little bit higher than sort of 15, 16. Maybe like about 12th or so.
Yeah. Right. So we're coming towards the end of our podcast and YouTube video. You might have seen Will going up of shot a few times at the end.
Apologies.
So what we're doing with this podcast is we're going to be putting it onto hopefully iTunes. Well, it will be on iTunes and also available on Google Play and of course on YouTube. You'll see all of the social media links for Will, for myself and for Fordy as well, who's nicely sent us some clips of all the questions.
Cheeky follows.
Yeah, so make sure you subscribe. All the links will be in the description below. Is there anything you want to add, Will?
Not really. Thank you very much for having me on, Lee. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been great fun. I hope we do it again.
We hopefully do. And if you like the podcast, please get in touch with us via social media. And of course, if you want to be involved as well, get in touch with us as well. Thank you very much for watching and thank you very much for listening.
Goodbye.